Hi, this is Kerry Artek with Wicked Stocks, bringing you your daily NVIDIA report for Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. Let's take a look at the charts. I will start with this one. We did close just above the 110.23 on the daily chart, 110.54 on the weekly chart, channel bottom last week. Certainly inside the 1% zone. Certainly sort of could go either way, as I mentioned in Mondays, but given the fact that we are above it, we do skew ever so slightly to the upside. It's just that we need, really to kind of push through. I think number one is last week's high, 115.10. That was from last Wednesday. 115.10 we've got as an intraday resistance level. Now on the weekly chart, just so you know, if we continue to sort of quietly trade in the low 110s all week long, I will want to see at the end of the week a settlement above last week's 115.10 high. Closing above the high of the low is itself a sign of strength. So we closed back above barely the 110.54 channel bottom, inside the 1% zone, certainly. And so, it is a muddled outlook right now because I still see that even if we were to rally out of here, 130.52 on the weekly chart is our significant upward pivot point into later Q2 and even into later year. Until then, this is a market that can be sold. NVIDIA can be sold through the month of May at 130.52. The question is, though, whether we're going to see that anytime soon or not. And this is the way it looks on the daily chart. 115.10, resistance that can contain intraday highs. If we push through 115.10, I would expect 119.45 intraday. 119.45 is a 2-3 month descending channel top, respectable in its own right, able to contain today's highs, and if settled above, should then yield, maybe by Friday's close, certainly by the end of next week, what I consider to be an objective of sorts at 129.08. I'm saying objective of sorts because we are technically back above this channel bottom. We just didn't close the week Friday above it by a full 1%. So there's that. I do need to see at least a push through 115.10. Closing above 115.10 is in itself a sign of strength. So, but I don't want to dissuade you from selling 119.45. This is a pretty classic channel top. On an intraday basis, pushing through 115.10, 119.45 is likely, where we can place a daily high, possibly fall away into later week, back into the 110 handle. Closing above 119.45, I see no good reason to be short NVIDIA. If you're a 3 to 5 day swing trader, you want to be long into the upper 120s. 127.72 is a 5/8 Fibonacci from the January all-time high against that more recent low from last week. And we've got 129.08 as a descending 2/3 speed line. This upper area, very sellable resistance, not only for exiting a long position, but for you 3 to 5 week, 1 to 2 month swing traders or position traders, this is an area where you can set a short position. From 129.08, I could see actually falling away. I'm looking for the right chart right now, not only back below 110.54, but even as far south as 79.64. And I say this knowing that we've got this sort of ticking clock. Ticking clock. It's not a clicking talk, but a ticking clock, right? The 90-day tariff situation is we just have to see how it all plays out. So there's an uncertainty that is weighing on the market. That in itself is bearish. I don't mean to be overly bearish. I do want to play the signals as they emerge. And so I do think that, yes, the upper 120s are in reach over the next couple of weeks. It's just that we have not yet convincingly closed above this 110.23 formation at the end of a week. We did last Wednesday and came falling back. So it's kind of, it's a muddled outlook right here around 110.23. But nonetheless, it looks more bullish above 115.10 and even more so above 119.45. So we'll just kind of take this one day at a time. Let's take a look at the downside here. We've got, now that's an old chart. Yesterday's low, 109.07, If we happen to violate not only, of course, 110.23, but 109.07, we may well have a good high for the day. Whether we unwind all the way back to 102.20 is another question altogether. But the volatility that we had last week does allow this. I'm going to say that if we close today back below 110.23, you can play the short side down to 102.20. And that might be it for the week. 102.20 is in correlation with the high of the low of 101.75. I'm only keeping it as a session containment level. If we wind up then closing Friday, that is the week itself, clearly back below 110.54, this market then incredibly susceptible to a downdraft into the 79.64 area within 3 to 5 weeks or less. But once again, we'll take our sell signals one signal at a time. I will say that if over the next few days we close below 102.20, that does aggressively pivot the market south. Closing below 102.20, we have a good high for the week, and we should then see the upper 70s, I'll say by the end of next week. If we close below 102.20, this channel bottom at 79.64 likely by the end of next week. Inversely, in terms of the upside, it really is 119.45. So you can see we've got 119.45 if you look to the far right. That is our upper session containment level, and 102.20 is our lower session containment level. They have pivot point qualities. Closing below 102.20, you're playing the short side through the rest of the week and into next. And closing above 119.45, you're playing the long side through the rest of the week. Inside of that wide area, it's kind of a tough call right now. I cannot ignore the channel bottom, of course, that is at 110.54 on the weekly chart, 110.23 on the daily. But if we continue kind of quietly trading both sides of this, I will probably lighten up on this 110.23 through the rest of the week, starting tomorrow, Wednesday. But we'll see how it plays out today. Please click like, share, subscribe, check out wickedstocks.com. We've got 2 stock picks coming out this week that you'll be able to see for free by taking advantage of a 5-day free trial. We also put out 2 stock picks last week that are very relevant. You'll still be able to see those for free. Our daily triple Q, our daily SPY analysis, our weekly Apple stock analysis. You'll be able to see it all for free through the rest of the week by going to wickedstocks.com. I think that pretty much summarizes it. I'm going to leave it at that for Tuesday's NVIDIA report. You have a great day.